Welcome to the Power Platform Show. Thanks for joining me today. I hope today's guest inspires and educates you on the possibilities of the Microsoft Power Platform. Now, let's get on with the show. Today's guest is all the way from Southampton in England. She is the founder of Smarter D365. She's implemented the full project lifecycle across a wide range of industries, including healthcare, financial services, retail, education, hospitality. She's also a Microsoft Dynamics Business Central solution architect with a wealth of technical, financial, and commercial skills acquired across various demanding roles. You can find links to her bio, socials, etc. in the show notes for this episode. Welcome to the show, Adeline.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
Excellent. I got things right. That's it's so good to have you on. I always like to start getting to know my guests from a food, family, and fun. What do they mean to you?
I'm a foodie. I love my food. Well, I come from Singapore originally, and I've lived in England for more than 30 years. But I still have my Singaporean roots, and we absolutely love our food. We'll eat pretty much anything and everything. Quite adventurous, yeah. So I like spicy food, but I think being brought up in Singapore, I love rice and noodles, obviously. Yeah.
And so what do you do when you're not working, when you're not doing your technical role or business? What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? I love winding down with lots of sort of I like to watch sort of the bada bing bada boom kind of movies, and I love my Korean dramas. I'm a K-drama fan.
Nice.
And yeah, so I love traveling. I've been to over 40, nearly 50 countries.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yes,
Has it mainly been in Europe, or have you?
All over. I've been to South America, I've been obviously all around Asia, quite a few European countries. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well-traveled. That's amazing. Tell me, how did you get started in tech? What was that journey for you?
It was quite interesting because I actually, very early in career, I was in kind of finance, working in Singapore in the brokerage banking industry. Came over here, had the little ones, and then I got into IBM as a payroll clerk to start with. And then from payroll clerk, worked my way up all the way. It's always in finance for me, even from a very, even during at school, I learned accounting when I was at secondary school. And so that's how my career was kind of mapped out for me in the finance sector. And when I was at IBM, I moved from payroll to then finance, actually into the finance department. And that's when I had to learn SQL query language, because IBM is so big and there isn't really a sort of like a software system that will, you have to actually learn query language to get all the reports you need out of it. And that was how I kind of got into a little bit of tech with the SQL. And then a couple of projects came on where I had to understand where all these transactions were going wrong and how to fix it. So having the finance and accountancy knowledge really helped with understanding the sort of the build of these software systems that we had at that time at IBM. And then I got headhunted into So I was called and asked if I'll be interested to look after Oracle for a company. So they had Oracle. So I say, yeah, sure. So, and then went to this other company and looked after their Oracle. I was their system admin there. And they decided that Oracle was too big for them. And so they then moved to, in the old days, called Navision, NAV, version 3.7, 3.8. So I was the project manager moving all the, transitioning from Oracle to NAV. And that was how really my Business Central NAV journey started all those years ago.
So you've obviously been through a few products. What has caused you to stay with Nav/Business Central from Microsoft? What did you like about it?
I guess it's, to be honest, when it first came out, because I was so used to big systems like IBM and also Oracle, looking at NAV, I was thinking, it's a little bit simplistic. But then I realized that after implementing it, that it was really user. It's more catered for kind of smaller industries. And, and I wanted to get into the whole kind of smaller business sector rather than corporate. And that product really appealed because we have this very small finance software like your Zero, your QuickBooks in the UK. These are, what I call the baby ones. And then you've got the really big software solutions like Oracle, SAP, the IBM Hyperion, that kind of stuff. But you don't have that kind of middle bit.
Yes.
And NAV sat really nicely there. It was like a nice ERP that catered to a business that's growing, that can then continue growing without having to move software until they become real corporate giants, Yeah. So that really appealed. And that was when I thought, I do want to continue with this product. And Microsoft has gone from strength to strength because Nav was on-prem, standalone, and look at where it is today. Integrated with the whole of the Dynamics 365 platform, and they've put in so many features. It's just lovely to see Microsoft investing so much in this product, and it's evergreen, and it's so exciting to see all this like Copilot and all these agents. They've now just released sales order agents to as a public preview, and yeah, it's lovely to see that they're really investing in the product.
It's so good. It's so good to hear, and such a good positive recommendation for the product. How many years now have you? So you worked at that company. You did the transition from Oracle to Navision. Bring us to where I know your journey continued on.
Yes. So to be fair, actually, after I finished implementing that project, I was called by a bank, and I will not name names, but they're one of the biggest banks in the world, and they wanted my skill sets. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'll finish the project, I'll move on. So I went, and it was really looking after their software again, clearing up all their financial trade. So I actually moved away from NAV for a little while and went into banking, into corporate world, back into this big global corporate world. And then after a while, I was a little bit disenchanted because I think when you've been in corporate and then you move to a smaller business and then going back to corporate, there's this saying, never go back.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's true in my case, never go back to corporate world. So, but funnily enough, never say never, because I went to Microsoft. But I decided to take a break, and I did a few years of teaching accountancy and software, and also I got into decided to start my own practice, accountancy practice, for a little while.
Wow.
But teaching, just after a while, quite a few years, love doing it, but decided that I wanted to get back into the tech world. And so I contacted the people who was the Microsoft partner who implemented with me all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they went, join us, come back. And that was how I got back into Business Central. I implemented Business Central with this partner and a few other partners. I got the opportunity to get into Microsoft, and I thought, why not? So I decided to go back, go into corporate world.
Yes.
And got in and looked after the partners, the Business Central partners in Microsoft. Yeah. And the BizApps world for a little while. And I don't know, maybe it must be a midlife crisis, and there were a couple of other situations that cropped up that I then decided in June last year to start on my own. And that's the journey. I'm here now. To be honest, kind of doing what I was doing at Microsoft, but more hands-on. Because at Microsoft, it was not really hands-on in the sense that I couldn't help partners with the whole project implementations. And, I could only do training at quite a high level. Couldn't sort of like give deep dive weeks and weeks of training on Business Central. So I decided that was what I really wanted to do, go into training, help Business Central partners with project implementations, because I saw so many failing projects and it was quite frustrating.
So how long were you at Microsoft?
Couple of years only. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, as in the business that you have now, are you helping BC customers implement projects, but are you also helping them engage with Microsoft? Because I often find there's a lot of partners that they can be good on the tech, but they are not necessarily good on, I always say it's a trifecta relationship. You have your practice, you have your customers, and you have Microsoft. And all those relationships to run an effective practice need to be facilitated, maintained, enriched. You can't just focus on customers without, bringing Microsoft in appropriately, and also Microsoft can help you as a partner many times. So you're facilitating. Are you helping them with not just the tech, but also the business?
Yeah, we do that. Yes. So where required, where the partner has a prospect that's quite big, you could actually. This is quite well, quite a lot of partners do not know this, but they should know that Microsoft does have what we call a concierge service that, you could reach out and they will step in and help you win the project with their support, with their presence, So we do get, and in a recent case, we helped a partner win a very big project together with Microsoft. So my contacts in Microsoft and my team and the business Microsoft partner, the three together worked together to win this massive project, and we won it from SAP.
Wow.
So that was really good. Yes.
It's so good. I left IBM myself about a year ago. And in my time in IBM, I noticed that in, I don't know, either Central Eastern Europe, we had a big development center for Business Central. We had a couple of big BC clients that were global companies, but running on Business Central. And my question is, I've been in the Dynamics community a long time, and I saw the transition from NAV to BC, and there was a bit of internally in Microsoft, do we need Business Central? Do we need Navision? Great Plains is already kind of in the sunset phase, so to speak, of its life, and the focus was wanting to be on F&O. And I saw things that went on in the leadership level it was kind of in public, if you like, because some things were done at conferences by leadership, which were not necessarily sanctioned by Microsoft. This is Microsoft product owners and stuff at the time. And it was tumultuous for a little period, but it seemed that Business Central has come out of that and just accelerated away.
Yeah.
And I feel that sometimes Microsoft, even partners, or as in when they try to position BC and they say, well, it's, small but medium-sized businesses. And then my exposure in IBM, well, it can be really large organizations and they can still run quite well on BC. And so how do you really define, a couple of questions. How big is the BC market now globally for Business Central, and how do you define you need to go to an enterprise ERP system as opposed to a mid-market, as opposed to a small ERP? Like, how do you define that if you had those conversations with customers?
It's really interesting you bring this up because, I've seen a sort of like you say, the transitions in the market, right? So you had at one time where everybody wanted, bits of different software. I want a solution just for project, and I want a solution just for finance. And people were going down that whole, separate solutions where you get what they call best of breed kind of thing.
Yes.
Then after a while, it then came to, right, we want one big system, right? And that's where the enterprise ERP really accelerated. And then they find that, this is such a beast to control. I think that's part of the issue with enterprise ERP. Don't get me wrong, I think F&O is amazing, and like it has such rich functionality that even I think Business Central should have in some of its functionality. But I think it's such a big beast, that then you now get businesses where we say, right, we'll have the enterprise solution, but then for operations, we want something more controllable. And I think that's why you get to see, and the fact that Business Central, Microsoft has also positioned the Business Central as a one-stop solution with ISV add-ons that, a small business can step up to or get into Business Central from the start and grow your business all the way, right, to when you need this big ERP enterprise. So I know you say like the likes of big organizations like IBM and also I do know, the big car manufacturers are using Business Central, but they're not using Business Central on its own for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Massive corporations like this will still require the likes of F&O, but they'll then have Business Central as so you've got like the spoke and the wheel kind of situation. Yes. And so I think what's happened is that with Business Central, the way Microsoft has positioned it correctly in the SMB market, that's why you've got the whole hockey stick growth, all the smaller businesses picking up Business Central, and then the bigger businesses also using Business Central for specific operations. Whereas, and then having that integration to F&O with, the whole consolidation and finance stuff.
So going just back to that question, how do you define it? Like Microsoft's term of SMB in Europe and America is quite different than, for example, in Australia and New Zealand, right? When you've got a country of only 5 million people, SMB is 50 people, right? Where in Microsoft, SMB would be 250 people to 2,000 people would be in your space. And so small business is then like one person in New Zealand or two people, so there's quite a difference in sizing. So when I go back to, you would have been in situations, I bet, where people were thinking that, we're big enough that we should just be F&O, where you can see clearly that this is BC will handle everything that you need. How do you take them on that type of discussion and journey?
With Business Central, the architecture is very different from F&O. When you buy F&O, you're buying one platform, and you can have all the different countries in one solution. So if you're a global organization where you have US, Europe, all of Europe, Asia, really you should have F&O as your main enterprise architecture. Business Central, you see, is based on per country.
Nice.
So if you have like the whole global, you would not want to buy 20 Business Central solutions in different countries. It doesn't make sense. Yes, if you want to, you can, but I think the cost then, is higher than if you just bought F&O. I'm just being very honest. Yeah. This is my opinion, would you pay 20 environments, production environments in different countries, when you can have F&O? The cost, The other thing is with Business Central, it handles operations beautifully. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing when it comes to operations, right? But when you start getting into the complexities of like really complex finance, complex manufacturing, then you will need to add on ISVs, or what we call third-party solutions,
Exactly.
And then that then increase your costs again. And then you have to make sure all these integrations keep working every 6 months when Microsoft updates Business Central. So it really depends on, like I say, if you're a huge organization with lots of countries, best to buy F&O to start with, and then think about Business Central in your subsidiaries for operations.
Interesting. As we go to wrap up, tell me about what you've noticed in the more successful partners. As in, like, do you see any patterns that appear in partners that do well? They grow, they continue innovating, they continue to adopt and take their customers on great journeys. Is there anything you're like, there's a pattern that I've seen across multiple partners that have led them to be consistently good?
I think the ones that are really consistently good are where they actually invest in people, invest in technology, so where I see, making sure they've got the right skill set, and then the resource, and then they will make sure that they're creating the latest and the greatest sort of developments. That's when they're very successful. So I've seen some partners where they've got some amazing people who create all these like AI extensions, and they're putting out there all these extensions that enhances Business Central, for example. Yeah. and then putting it on the app stores and then marketing it successfully. Yeah. That's where I think, it's about the people, really.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. Adeline, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If there's a guest you'd like to see on the show, please message me on LinkedIn. If you want to be a supporter of the show, please check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Stay safe out there and shoot for the stars.